Hi boys, good morning and happy Thursday. Today is kind of like our Friday because we do not technically have school tomorrow, so we will not be doing any new work tomorrow. So that's exciting. So today is our last day to work together and to finish up anything you haven't had the chance to finish throughout the week. On Tuesday, we talked about graphs and we talked about how a graph is an easy way to organize data or information. And we talked about two types of graphs. We talked about a pictograph or a picture graph and a bar graph. So today we're going to talk a little bit more about what we do with that graph once we have our information on it. Specifically, we're going to talk about how we can answer questions about what's on the graph. So let's go ahead and take a look at this video and then we'll come back and talk for a bit.
We can draw a picture graph and a bar graph to represent data. Let's use the data in a graph to solve comparison problems. What if a graph had no labels or title at all? What would we know about the data? Not much. The title tells us what the data is about. I can see that this graph is about favorite vegetables. But which vegetables? The labels tell us what categories of data are being represented. The categories are along the y-axis on the side. We could tell how many people voted for each vegetable by counting the filled-in spaces. But the numbers make it easier, much easier. The numbers tell us how many children like each vegetable. We can match up the end of the bar with the number, like a ruler or a number line, to find the quantity. Sam is wondering, how many fewer votes were there for broccoli than corn? Well, Sam is thinking, corn has 9 votes. Broccoli has 7. What's the difference? How many fewer? We can count on the graph from 9 to 7. 1, 2. There are 2 fewer votes for broccoli. Sam also wondered how many more votes there were for carrots than peas. Wow, Sam is thinking, carrots have a lot of votes. 9 votes. Peas didn't get very many votes. They're not my favorite either. Just 2 votes for peas. So we can count up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Or we could subtract. 9 minus 2 equals 7. Carrot had 7 more votes than peas. Sam wondered how many people voted. More than 20? Less than 20? Well, I know that carrots and peas both have 9 votes. 9 plus 9 equals 18. That's a doubles fact. Broccoli has 7 votes. 18 plus 7 is more than 20. The data on a graph can be used to solve comparison problems. We can draw picture graphs and bar graphs to represent data.
So, by thinking about the video, we know that we can not only use a graph to organize information or data, but after we have that graph, we can come back and answer some questions about the information or the data on our graph. So go ahead and find the pictures shown on the screen in your packet, the worksheet Reading Graphs, Animals on Hackberry Farm. I'll give you a second to find that. If you need longer, go ahead and pause it. And let's take a look at what we have. So first of all, let's take a look. So do we have, when we talk about the two types of graphs that we've learned about, we have learned about pictographs and bar graphs. And so let's take a look at this. Are they using pictures or bars to organize information at the top of the graph? Okay, very good. I see bars. So this would be a bar graph. So in this graph, they are using bars to organize some information. So let's take a look at the first question. The first question says, what is the title of the graph? And as we learned in the video we just watched, the title is usually at the top of the graph. So we're going to look right over here. And the title of the graph is going to be right here, Animals on Hackberry Farm. Okay, so for number one right here where it says, what is the title of the graph? We could write Animals of Hackberry Farm. So we could write that right there for number one because that is the title of our graph. Okay, number two we just talked about. What type of graph is shown? So let's think about that one more time. This week we're learning about a pictograph, which uses pictures to show data, or a bar graph, which shows bars to show data, okay? And if we look again at the graph, it is using bars. So on number two, where it says what type of graph is shown, we have a bar graph. So we could go ahead and write that in for number two right there. We could write bar graph. Made it a little too small. So we could have that for number two, okay? Let's look at number three. Number three says, explain what you can learn from looking at the graph. Well, in the video, we know that they told us to pay careful attention to the side and the bottom, okay? And that's going to give us some more information about our graph. So on the side of our graph, it says number of animals. And at the bottom, it says type of animal. And then we've got cows, pigs, chickens, and goats, okay? So I think by looking at this graph, we can learn how many of each type of animal are on the farm, right? So on Monday, we read Graham's Farm. Yesterday, you should have read Farms, okay? So this kind of all ties in together. So this graph tells us animals, what types and how many are on Hackberry Farm. So that is what I can learn from looking at the graph. Okay, you are going to take some time now to do 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 on your own. Okay, I want you to try your best and show me what you know. When you're done, you're going to snap a picture and turn it in Google Classroom. Okay?